Welcome back, True Sicker. It is July 9th, 2025, a Wednesday. And just to quickly go over some of the headlines. Big flooding in New Mexico. We went from Texas to next door, New Mexico, in Ruidoso, I believe it said. Could be saying that wrong, but I think that's right. Ruidoso, New Mexico. Last year, this town was devastated with a fire. And now, about a year later, it's a flood. And again, if you're new here, Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. This is the biggest flood in the news since just days ago on the 4th of July, the fourth day of the seventh month. As we covered just 4 days ago in Gematria, flash flooding equals 128, like Independence Day. In this case, Ruidoso NM, like you'd write it on an envelope, like it's written here in this headline 128. This is the location with the latest flash flooding. New Mexico's the 47th state. Everyone thinks of the UFO Roswell incident in 47, which they say was just a military weather balloon. But again, that was in 47 in the 47th state. This comes right after the 4th of July flooding. In reverse, the location equates to 115, like Masonic, like killing. And in reverse with numerology, that's the big one, the 52, just like flood, earth, Enlil, all equal 52. The first act of weather warfare admitted to in 1952. Again, if you're new here, this practice of coding numbers into words. This knowledge I learned from a book published in 1926, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. It's just based on the alphabetic order forwards, backwards, and both orders with numerology applied to each letter. So, anyhow, the location, the gematria stands out. And then making matters even more interesting, from the fire ending there in this same town last year on July 15th, 2024, to the flood, which began July 8th yesterday, span of 359 days, the 72nd prime. It was the South Fork Fire, is what its name was last year, which equals 72 forwards and backwards, like Jesuit order. A reminder that the first act of weather warfare was admitted to August 15th, 52, on the Jesuit order's birthday. And this town is in Lincoln County. You can see how Lincoln County equates to 177, like weather control, like the Jesuit order. I should have put it up there. Independence Day. Excuse me, no, not Independence Day. 4th of July equals 177. And remember, what just happened in Texas was compared to a flood that killed people and campers 38 years ago on the 17th of July, 17/7. If you've missed my work on the Texas flood, definitely check it out. It's all synced up with Lyndon Johnson and his weather control speech that was given in Texas back in 62 about who controls the weather, controls the world. Again, what just happened in Texas was 38 days after the anniversary of that speech. They're comparing it to the disaster from 38 years ago. Of course, death, murder, killing, RIP, they all equal 38. What happened in Texas was also 163 days from Lyndon Johnson's death anniversary, the 38th prime. Where this happened, it's one of the areas that felt the Trinity test, the nuclear test, the atomic test. Remember, for nearly 50 years, your government detonated atomic hydrogen nuclear bombs underground, high up in the atmosphere for experimentation purposes, triggering fault lines, triggering storms. You guys should look into some of the imagery that's been put out on the internet about something that did look like a bomb going off in the atmosphere just the other day in Texas. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if that was a big part of how they created the energy for the devastating rains. Another part of me thinks they opened a dam. But anyway, weather warfare, again, very similar numbers to what we just talked about 4 days earlier. And if you're one of these people who's, I don't like numbers, I just like looking at images of the craziness, again, that's lemming talk. Learn this code and see how redundant the ritualism is and how it often comes back to the same numbers over and over. Notice the victims in this case, too, right after what happened on July 4th. The victims were identified as a man in his 40s to 50s. We don't get a specific age there. A 7-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl. Interesting. Another 4-7 for the 47th state. Surprised they didn't say the man was 52 or even 47. I suppose he could have been in his 40s or 50s. Just more news by the numbers. Another tariff ritual. Trump today had 7-date numerology, July 9th. 7-date numerology. Trump threatened 7 nations with tariffs on 7/9 when tariffs equates to 79. The chump is now 79 years old. These tariffs will go into effect August 1st, 8/1, like President Trump equals 81, like ritual equals 81. Don't forget, President Biden also equals 81, also Jesuit educated like Trump, and supposedly got a record 81 million votes. Also buzzing in the news, Jeff Bezos, who started his business in New Mexico, along with Bill Gates, who started Microsoft in New Mexico, the 47th state, before both of them moved it up to the 47th parallel in the Seattle area, where the first UFO sighting happened in 47, just days before the one in the 47th state. Again, this technology does seem alien, and Bezos and Gates are among the strangest looking people on earth. But anyway, the word beast equates to 47. And in light of that, Jeff Bezos just sold off 666 million of his Amazon stock. Does he know something that others don't? He did this on July 8th. Date can be written 8/7. Number of the beast equals 87. Keep in mind words like computer and internet equals 666 in Sumerian gematria. It says that part of his plan to unload 25 million shares for 2025. And of course, Amazon equals 25. And I've pointed out a gazillion times these big tech gurus, so we're told, I think they're puppets on the world stage. And that's why they perform these perfect numeric rituals. Doesn't matter if you're talking about Musk, Gates, Bezos, Zuckerberg, but again, they all move this way. And just for the record, for that familiar pattern from Bezos' birthday, well, let me make sure I didn't make a mistake here. Hold on. January 12th, 2025. It should have been July 8th. July 8th, 2025. It was 177 days later. Somehow I ended up clicking July 7th and doing the span. But yeah, it was 177 days after his birthday. Again, the Jesuits. And this is what I've explained for a long time. My last book that came out in 2020, Number Game, shows how all these big tech gurus are Jesuit puppets. Again, the Jesuits, military order that has a lot to do with everything going on in this nation. And again, the first act of weather warfare admitted to on their birthday. And don't forget, you run it the other way, the Jesuit Orders 201, it was just days ago. Detachment 201 was created on the day leaving 201 days left in the year. This big tech branch of the Army. Yeah, the regulatory filing was yesterday, July 8th, a Tuesday. So yeah, I need to fix that screenshot up there, but you know, what an amount, 666, paying tribute to the beast. And don't forget how many parallels there are with him and the other guy I just mentioned who started his business down there in New Mexico as well, Bill Gates. Bill Gates, of course, has the gematria of 87 also. At the time of the Pokey Doke, there was a lot of 666 and a lot of 87 going on. Bill Gates also 87. And just for the record, his full name, William Henry Gates, 201. The main co-sponsor of the Event 201 simulation. And then shortly after that, his buddy Bezos got into the Pokey Doke business as well. And don't forget, Jeff Bezos equates to 94, like Seattle, Washington equals 94. Amazon launched in 94. That was the year that Bill Gates became a celebrity. 94 days after he got married to Melinda, the biggest star in Seattle died, Kurt Cobain. And that was also 206 days before Bill Gates' birthday when Seattle's the 206 area code. Again, a lot of rituals with Seattle in 94, including being the first city in the world outside of China to have the Cooties 19. You know, Bill Gates said it was all going to happen a decade, almost to the day of it happening in Davos, Switzerland, another 94. Anyway, a whole nother topic, but yeah, that's how these people move. And I don't know why more people don't take notice. So we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. There should be some interviews uploading here in just a second. The gentleman who runs this channel will be doing a video on today's interview, and I don't exactly know how he's going to do it. He's a definite skeptic of the knowledge, but this is the man, Ben Amene. His name's Ben. He's very good at video editing, I'll tell you that much. So anyway, did a nice long interview with him. That'll be uploaded in parts 1 and part 2. And look for those interviews. So we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Until next time.